Cell phone charger's back there if you need one.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome.
How's your day been going so far, sir?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. Just cruising around, trying to... It's like one of those days, I'm from California, so like this is as cold as it gets in California, but it's not supposed to be like this in Chicago, so I'm trying to,
Yeah, geez, I mean, people are probably out wearing shorts.
Yes, yeah. I live by the lake, and there were some people at the beach, so it was surprising. Chicago steps out at 50, but I'm like, yeah, right, I'm from LA. 50 is beyond cold. I'd call in sick if it was 50.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, because I'm headed to my buddy's. He texted me. He's like, yeah, we're going to go grill out on his balcony Saturday.
Yeah, it's like with heaters, you...
Like, yeah, all right, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. The Midwest version, it's a different temperature set, that's for sure. Are you from here originally?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in Chicago actually.
Nice. Okay. Yes, you're used to it. You have the good thick blood. You're ready for it. Yeah. I tell people I've been here for 4.5 years. I have not acclimated. I just have snow-induced PTSD now, and that's it. I
think what you really need, because I went to DePaul down in Lincoln Park.
Mm-hmm.
Roommate freshman year was from Oakland.
Okay.
And he was all like, I was not like scared, but he was, a little worried when winter hit.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun to see him experience that. And actually, now that I think about it, that was the year, around this time, we had the polar vortex.
Ooh, the 2013 or 2018? I don't know.
The 18.
18, okay, that's when I moved here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I moved here for that one.
That was fun. But really, and I told him, all you need, I think you need a good coat.
Yeah.
And a good pair of boots.
Yeah. And that's really, it can do it. The coat is the big part. Your leg's not that important. Getting, layers and all that stuff is important. But here's where all of that doesn't help me. Because I grew up in California, I just go outside. When it's time to leave, I just walk out the door. I don't think about it. Right? And then I have to go, now I got to look it up and figure it out. And there have been times when I had to take the trash out and I just wasn't thinking, and I go out in shorts and an undershirt, and it's 2 degrees, and I don't think about it, but it's I'm already here, I'll be fine. And I go, and by the time I get back, I'm like, all right, I have to get a finger cut off because Yes, yeah.
What part of California are you from?
So I grew up in Northern California, so actually about 45 minutes north of Oakland. And then from there I moved to Los Angeles for my 20s. And Los Angeles is perpetual spring, summer. It's always that. So yeah, it was definitely a shock when I moved here.
I like, because here you get fall, winter, spring, summer. For how long, who knows?
Right.
Because lately there's no such thing as spring.
Yeah, it's just skipping it. Yeah.
Honestly, fall is my favorite season. I like fall.
Sure. And it's great in Chicago. It's a great season here. Yeah.
The only thing that gets me, I don't like the too extreme. I feel like in winter you always get a stretch where it's freezing cold.
Oh yeah.
No one wants to go up.
Oh yeah.
Leave their house. But then in the summers, man, sometimes when it gets so hot, I'm like, I hate this too.
Yep, and the humidity, that was such, I live right by the lake, I'm 2 blocks, and the humidity and the mosquitoes are unreal. I mean, we're talking, I come home and my door's covered, it's black with mosquitoes. I've never seen it that bad. Yeah.
Because I imagine, LA, man, I'm sure it gets really hot too.
Super hot, but it's dry, there's no humidity. Yeah. Yeah, I never felt it until I came out here. That it never existed. It wasn't a thing because the Pacific Ocean, it all keeps moving. So there's no air, no wetness in the air. So it was nice. It's just dry heat, which I very much like. I'll wear a 3-piece suit in 100-degree weather, but humidity, I can't do it. It's so sticky.
Yeah, fall is perfect because you get days where it's
crisp. There's no humidity. It's not too bad. Yeah, that it really is I think the best time. When I tell people when I come visit, I'm like, either come in May or come in August, or September even. You don't want to be here in the summertime, really, if you're not used to it. That's for sure.
Yeah, in the summer too, especially like you downtown by the lake. I'm just sure it's there's so many people out.
Tons. Yeah, everybody. As soon as it gets nice, everyone in Chicago goes to the lake.
Yeah.
It's
and
yeah.
You get all the people coming in, all the tourists.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and there's some of that I do enjoy. I always tell people like Chicago like comes to life from Memorial Day to Labor Day, right? Like it's just all over, and it's really great. And it is like the nice weather. Everybody gets outside for it. There's something happening in every borough of Chicago. It's really a lot of fun.
Let me ask you this: as I see the red lights coming on. I feel like everyone always talks about Chicago traffic.
Oh, sure.
But then LA is also thrown out there, because you experience both.
Yes.
What's your thought?
So I was just talking to somebody this morning. So Chicago recently won 2 awards in 2022. They just haven't tallied it for 2023 yet, but it won the most congested city in the nation because of all the construction, but it's been since 2021, all the construction, the most congested city in the nation and the most rat-infested city in the nation. That's Chicago. So it definitely won. In LA, I definitely experienced that long crawl of 9 to 5 rush hour traffic. The job I had out there, I was an on-site technician, so I worked for a company that would send me to do IT work at all sorts of places. And that resulted in probably about 3 to 3.5 hours a day in traffic every single day. And it really was just you're just stop and go, to the point where it rocks you to sleep almost. And so that was a lot of fun. That was definitely a lot of traffic that way. And there's some places that are, brutal. If you go the 405, if you're over by the ocean side, it's one of the worst exchanges in the world, where it just because there's 10 million people, it just becomes super bad. But Chicago, it's more, you'll just get stuck in places and you won't expect it, and then you go somewhere else and it'll open up and then it'll stop. Unfortunately, because we're on the 90-94 and they're doing all this construction, it's like this. Plus there was an accident on the way out, and over here everything goes down into one lane, so this is just gridlock area right now. Yeah, but see, this is where I'm a weirdo. I genuinely like being in a car and driving through traffic, through whatever. If I'm by myself, I have a podcast going or music. If I have someone in the car and there's a conversation, I enjoy it. I really do love this. Even when I lived in LA, I was I just put on music, I'd smoke, I'd have the windows down, and it was beautiful everywhere you go. So I didn't mind at all. I grew up fixing up old muscle cars. So if I was in a car and it was driving, it was good. That was a good time.
Yeah.
You got it working. You did it. So I was okay, cool. Then fine. I'm all for it. So that's the attitude I take. But yeah, it can be for sure a grind. It can be a stuck that you're going through parking lots.
And I just remember the early stages of lockdown and everything.
Yeah.
My sister, cause she lives in the city, and she would come back by us where you just grab me from, and sometimes just to hang out or whatever. And I just remember a couple times she didn't have a car, so I drive her back or whatever, and you just flying.
Oh yeah.
It was all open. It was nice.
Yes, I do remember those drives where there really was, where it was just open to go. And it was I didn't expect it to come. There were a couple of times where as I worked remote, my 9 to 5 is tech work, and so after 2017 I'd been remote anyways. But 2020, if I worked for a place in Chicago, they're hey, we just need to come to the office for 1 or 2 things or whatever. And I'd be driving, it's like a ghost town. Because I remember when I first moved here in 2018, it was like this. It was this cars everywhere. And then 2020, it was just oh, you're downtown in 10 minutes. So yeah, it's really interesting, the change. Yeah, I could tell right around, I want to say 2021, 2022, I was out at some, I don't remember, I think it was a comedy show. And you could just feel like Chicago, like the people were like ready to explode. Like they were just ready. It was right around the end of it. So I think 2022. And they were just, you could tell everybody just wanted to get out of the house and get out and do stuff. And it really has, it just flipped. As soon as it was like, okay, cool, you can go out, everybody, it's just, traffic started that day.
Which I guess I'd rather have the traffic than being shut in.
Yeah.
Everything's shut down.
I 100% agree. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, I'm very much, I like cities, I like people. So to me, traffic just means there's people living, there's life, there's stuff going on here. If I'm in a city and there's no one on the road, that means there's just no one around, And I like that, yeah. Was your job affected by COVID, or?
I was in college when that happened. I was a sophomore.
Okay.
So I guess technically, yes.
Sure, yeah, school.
Yeah, that was wild because I remember I had gone home because it was kind of our spring break and my sister's birthday.
Okay.
So I had just gone home, whatever, to celebrate that. And that was literally, we were out and you saw the headline, because it was there were rumors.
Oh yeah, I remember, yeah.
We were kind of going to go into the bunker.
Right.
And then it hit, so then I ended up just being at home from basically March to August.
Uh-huh.
And then I went back to my apartment I had at campus for my junior year. We were all online that whole year.
Sure, yeah.
Which was interesting.
Mm-hmm. You said you went to DePaul? Or? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so you're just there on lockdown anyways.
Yeah, it was interesting for sure. But luckily, my senior year, we were back, we had to wear a mask.
Right.
We were back in classes.
Okay.
It was kind of back to normal, so that was good.
Yeah.
It was definitely, it was a wild time.
Yeah, I remember my daughter, she was doing the remote learning, so she'd had kindergarten and first grade. I think it started in first grade. So they were already almost done with the year, but then it was remote learning for second grade and third grade, and now she's going back to school and bringing COVID home with her. So, which is nice. She seriously gave it to me. I think she's given it to me 4 times.
Oh my God.
Yeah, every Christmas. It's so nice of her. Right, exactly.
It sucked for everyone.
Yeah.
I feel, from a student perspective, though, for me, I don't want to say it came right time, but it's missed out really 1 year of college. Whenever I had my senior year, and I still had enough of that experience. I feel kind of bad for, the people in high school who got their proms canceled and all that.
Yeah, graduation.
Or even the real young kids.
Yeah.
Just had to go through that because I definitely think it's gotta have had some effect.
Oh yeah.
So I feel the people around me, we got enough of that, human interaction in school because my mom's a principal.
Oh, okay.
And so she was dealing with all that, and then kind of when they were back up in person, it was just a nightmare.
Wow. A nightmare because just having to deal with it, there's still an active virus going on, still not knowing how bad it can be, or just because it was so different from what she was used to?
I think maybe a little of both. I think the big thing was once they got back and you had to have weird masks, there were all the protocols in place, just dealing with that, all right, one kid in class has it, who else has it, what do we have to do, and then you got the parents, which, it is what it is, you believe what you want to believe, and, why do we have to wear masks, this is dumb, or the people, I saw so-and-so, they weren't wearing masks, and they were out together, both ends of the spectrum, and she's just fielding calls and emails about it. It's just everyone kind of relax.
Right. Oh yeah, that's a great point. And what's the funniest part is they have to get their kids vaccinated to go to school in the first place. So they had already vaccinated their kid with all this other stuff already. So it's like you can't say you're an anti-vaxxer. Your kid's vaccinated, or they wouldn't be at a public school. So you're just think is this thing, but it's like I don't know. Maybe you should go through schooling again if you're thinking this is the problem. I don't know where you stand on it either, but it's like one of those things of like vaccines have existed for 2,000 years. This is just the best version of it now.
Right, yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, it's just got so ridiculous.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. But that was one of the things that like that's how I learned that like anyone could fall for it, and you could truly be anything and not be smart, because there were doctors that were like saying like, COVID is actually because you're wearing the mask in the first place and you're rebreathing in your perspirations, and that's why you're getting COVID. And I'm like, you're a doctor saying this. How anybody could do it. Maybe I should be a doctor. Like it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
The world is just wild. And I definitely think, your social medias and all that are just the worst places on earth.
Oh, for sure.
Which is, because I'm not waking up and turn on the news or anything. I get most of my news from like Twitter. Just go on already, anything happening. But it's like you see something and you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. What's going on there? And you click on it, and it's just garbage all the time. You got people that take everything they see as gospel and
exactly.
Run with it.
Yeah. And that's the worrisome part. Absolutely. And the concerning thing though is that like social media, like you're right, it's a cesspool of disinformation, but that's what people are. Like they all they're doing is going from their house to the World Wide Web. They existed already. It's all there.
Yeah. And instead of you're at your local bar or whatever talking to your buddies, now it's you can talk to anyone.
You're just out there, you're putting it out there, and I think that has its good side and its bad side. It's just like with
for sure.
like with racism, right? Like there was a lot of closeted racism that we just weren't aware of until it's blowing up on social media now. But to me, that's great. You have to get it out so that you get rid of it. Like these people have to be confronted and explained and given information, and to just say this is where it's still at right now. Like if you talk to any person of color, they're like, this isn't new. I knew how it was because they experience it. Now we're seeing what was actually there, and it is getting slightly better. It's just taking the amount of time that it's taking.
Yeah.
And I think disinformation and all of that it has to go through that same process. It has to go through the get it out there, have people listening to all of their, media espousers of the world and influencers, and until you start to kind of go like, oh, this influencer is not that smart, not that great. It tends to be incorrect a lot, and then you move forward from it. But you just kind of have to go through it.
Right. Yeah. And I hate that too. These influencers, these media people who really aren't, because I noticed that too when I'm at I'll be at the gym and they got all the TVs up or whatever,
sure,
on a treadmill or something, and they got, for some reason, most of the TVs I feel like are on, they got your Fox News and they got your CNN, and it's like I just don't think that what they intended to be when they started, like now it's all entertainment, I would say. Like
exactly.
People, it's not like unbiased, news.
Oh yeah, it's not journalism. It's not real.
Yeah, right, journalism. That's what it is. Yeah, it's just people giving opinions on stuff, and it's like either side. It's like I don't want opinions here.
Exactly.
Just give me the news,
the data, the facts. Yeah, where are we at exactly? Because CNN was where they invented the 24-hour news station. CNN was the first one.
Oh yeah.
And that's where they were like that, Central News Network, right? That's CNN. And so, but that was the whole deal, is like they were the first one of like, come here for news 24/7, but then they realized they have to find something to talk about 24 hours a day.
Right.
And that's when news sensationalism became a thing. That's when they're like, what are we going to talk about? Well, let's talk about how, these household chemicals could murder you today at 7, so that people watch at 7. And that's where it became what it is now.
It's just too bad because doing that because you got people who will just eat everything up. So, you know, they're getting views, they're selling ads. It's like there's no going back.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's one of those things that you eventually have to stop putting. It has to stop being profitable. Once it stops being profitable, then it goes away. But until then, if it's profitable, people make money doing it, it's going to be what people do. And it's not going anywhere. And that's kind of, it just has to evolve that way. It's just going to go and take the amount of time that it takes to get there, I think. Yeah.
And I do think there are some benefits of, you know, like social media. I think it's nice, you know, you can connect with people.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know if it's your similar interest, or if you've got, you know, catching up with people, you know, you haven't seen in a while or whatever, you stumble across them. That's nice.
Yeah.
I don't know, does the good outweigh the bad?
Right.
I don't know.
I think it can. I think it does. I was listening to a podcast with a really brilliant scientist talking about the society levels, right? We're a class 0 society. The first thing we invented that was a class 0, and a class 0 is like the whole planet is together aligned as one. That's like the beginning starter of like Star Trek, right? To get to Star Trek, the whole planet has to be together. The first global thing, we have a global communication system. We've never had that before. That's the internet. The problem is we're still, you know, if you look at the evolution of this species, right? Humans have existed on planet Earth for about 3 million years. So, or no, it's maybe 1 million. But anyway, so over that span of time, we're here, and like society has existed in this much of that 1 million. We're very much a primitive animalistic species. So how are we going to evolve as a global species, right? And it's one of those things. It's going to take a long time, like thousands of years, because that's how evolution actually works.
Yeah, and it's like, when you put it that way, you think in like the context of, you know, how long the Earth has been here. Yeah, humans, it's relatively, you know, pretty short.
Yes, we are a flash in the pan. Overall, that's where it was. So humans is 1 million years, and Earth has existed for 3 billion. So, right, of the whole scope of it, right, 3 billion, like a billion is what, 1,000 millions? So 3,000 times our existence is how long Earth's been here. We've only been here for this tiny, and like once you get into thousands, it's such a huge number, billions, millions, you don't even conceptualize it. But the true thought process is humans have existed for the blink of an eye of the total lifespan of planet Earth. And we're still evolving. We're still getting to it. And it's like, you know, dinosaurs were wiped out. Well, there's no reason to believe a comet won't wipe everything out on Earth. There's just no reason to think that. It's happened twice before. So, yeah, dinosaurs were one of them. But there was, what was it called? I don't remember. It was like the mycelial age or something, where there were like mushrooms as big as buildings before dinosaurs. Yeah. And they were like underwater. So it's really interesting. Right? So who knows?
Yeah, right. It's wild to think about.
Right?
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. I do still believe, like, I think we can get there. You know, I love Star Trek because it is a wholly possible reality we could achieve. You know, it's not like space wizards like Star Wars, which is still cool, but I'm more of a Trekkie. But, you know, we could get there. If everything continues, we will get there, because like the overarch of all of human evolution is cooperation, is socialism, is that helping each other, building the species, contributing to each other. So if that just continues on for another million years, we just have to get to that point. Even if it's incremental, it's just going to get that way. And that's how society works. That's why it's worked. So we'll get there. It's just a matter of when we'll get there.
And I definitely feel like, you know, it's the loud minority, like, group of people. It's like, going back to like social media and stuff, like, you know, the people you see, you know, screaming and yelling about stuff. I feel like most people are generally, you know, in the middle.
Yeah.
Or, you know, maybe they feel strongly about something, but they're not, you know, they're open to listening and hearing the other side. I feel like the people you hear about are really kind of the minority.
Absolutely.
Whereas as a whole, like, you know, people, you know, like what you were saying, are open and wanting to collaborate, work together.
Oh yeah.
You just got the one people.
Right, and that's, I think, a lot of it. Most people, if you look at, politics is one thing, policy is the other. And this is why I try not to get into politics, because politics is literally just how popular something is. Or can you get 1,000 people to vote on it? Like, that's how we're determining who president is, who's going to be in Congress. It's a popularity contest, as opposed to saying, what's the policy? What is this person going to enact to govern, right, and help us and continue on? And that's the problem, is that people are saying, well, how do you feel about trans rights? How do you feel about this? But that's not putting gas in your tank. That's not food on the table. That isn't something that we should even be involved in wondering about, right? The things that we should care about as a people are like what international policies are put in place that determine where our food comes from, how much we're spending on gas, how much is subsidized versus how much is not. Like, these are things that actually matter. But like, people don't even think of it. Like, if you were like, every single gas tank here, our taxes have filled 60% of that gas tank. Most people don't even know that, but the government subsidizes gasoline. That's why it's only $2 here, but it's $8 in London, right? So that's something that we should know about, care about, and think about, not who's going into the bathroom. We used to all communally go in a shared bathroom in Rome. It was just a room with holes in the ground that everybody just went into. That's just how it was.
Yeah.
It's not relevant. This isn't, I don't care who goes to the bathroom. I'm there to do that thing and then go live the rest of my life. This is 10 minutes of that life.
Yeah, the things people care about are
exactly
interesting.
And it's because of sensationalism, because of the news. It's getting votes, getting eyes, getting attention. That's really the reason for it, is it gets people to look at what you're talking about, hear what you're saying, and go, okay, I guess I agree with that thing. I'll give you my vote. But it's like, that's not policy. That's not what we're living on. And it's completely usurped. What was it? George Washington, he said that there's 3 things we need to do in order to maintain our freedom as a country, right? The first one everybody knows, we can't have a king. We're not allowed to have a king. So that one we got right. The second one, he said we cannot have any foreign allegiances, because if any country we're in allegiance with, if they go to war, we have to go to war also, and that's going to weaken us. Well, we're in several foreign allegiances, right? So that's out. The third one, he said, and this is the important one, he says we cannot have political parties, because all they're going to do is fight each other and stop governing and stop enacting policies. Because if red doesn't like what blue is doing and blue is doing this, then they're going to oppose it because it's not red. And that's it. That's all they're doing. And that's been the last 2 political cycles, the last 8 years. It's just one party opposes the other, so they'll do anything to oppose that party. And that's all it is. Politics is just congregating the vote. That's all it is, instead of looking at the actual policy and how it could help people.
I imagine it's, to a certain extent, maybe, not always been like this, but you've always had your fanatics for sure. But I'm just curious from your perspective. I feel like what I'm noticing is like what you were saying, more recently it's become just so polarizing.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that's, like, was it always like this? Or
oh yeah, political parties. It's happened.
Yeah.
And it happened in England before it happened here. That's why Washington said don't do political parties. But it's happened, like, there was this, the most recent time was called the Great Southern, I think, was it called the Great Southern Switch or something like that? Where essentially, like, the Democrats used to be the Republican racists and conservatives, and then those people, they were like, well, everybody's voting Republican, so they switched. They like hid who it was, so that everybody that was voting Republican, thinking they were getting this thing, ended up getting all of the like racists and all of that stuff. And it was like a swap. But before that, it was the same thing. Senate, Congress, all that stuff. They were fighting each other. Well, he's a Democrat, he's a Green Party, he's a Red Party, he's whatever. And it was just fighting. And that it's happened, I want to say like 4 or 5 different political times, because what is it, the United States is like 400 years old or so, maybe 350 years old, something like that. So it's because of that, in that amount of time, it just happens, and then it all collapses and it all stops. They switch places, they switch what side they're on, or what it looks like, what it means to be, and then the parties stop fighting each other for a little while. But it continuously, all of the sensations, all this stuff is not new at all. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a little comforting to know that, you know, it's not new.
Right?
But it is, yeah, it's just like,
here's where we are. We've got nothing in place to stop it yet, so here's what we're doing until we figure it out. Yeah. What did you study at DePaul?
I was a sports communication major.
Oh, okay.
Now I work in logistics.
Cool, okay. I was just talking to a truck driver, overnight truck driver this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
so, you know, and he's looking to get into starting his own, like, logistics and freight, what is it? Where he gets the roles and, like, kind of kicks them out to people.
Oh, yeah.
So the in between. So he wants to do that. So
God bless. Good luck to him. It's rough because I was because I graduated in 22. And I was kind of, you know, looking around. I had a seasonal job with the Cubs after I graduated. And then that ended, and then 23. Well, beginning of 20. Actually, October 22 to I got hired basically May. I was just doing nothing, so I was just looking. And basically, you know, I saw this place, reached out to me, you know, why not apply, get an interview. But my brother-in-law, he's in logistics. He's been so his whole life, and I was kind of talking to him about it. Before my first interview, he was like, yeah, you know, it's kind of a tough time for the business right now. And I was like, oh,
sure. Yeah.
How tough could it be? But boy, then you get in, it's
a little cutthroat, a little harder. Is it here, Takamura, or?
Yeah, I'm just running into the 7-Eleven.
All right.
Well, thank you so much,
You're
sir.
very welcome. Yeah, it was great chatting.
Yeah. Have a great rest
You
of
too.
your
Thanks.
day.
That's
Take care.
Thanks. You too.